Good morning. I'm confused. I often am. It's census time and I'm being asked questions about my sexuality, ethnicity, skin colour and so on. I'm even asked if I've belonged to the armed services. These are all voluntary questions, of course, but I've got nothing to hide, so I write white British, definitely heterosexual, but no, I did not serve in the armed forces. This last question bemused me because there's never been a conflict where a victory was won without the support of the Merchant Navy, in which I did serve as an engineer from 1968 to 1976. It's long been said that if you shout, "Hey Jock," down from the top plates in any ship's engine room, you will always get an answer. My own experience is that in the half-dozen trips I did around our wonderful world, Scottish colleagues in the engine room were never absent. Indeed, they probably represented a third of all engine room staff, if not more. Because we were a company serving Australia and New Zealand, we also had many Aussies and Kiwis working in the engine room, most of whom had Scottish surnames, or many did anyway. Argentina, another country frequently visited, had many Scottish surnames, legacy of engineers who had built the railways there. Although Essex born and bred, my Scottish grandfather came from a long line of Scottish railway and marine engineers from Kilmarnock, Kilmacolm, Greenock and Gourock on the Clyde. Having grown up with Scottish uncles, aunts and second cousins, I am dismayed at the divisive attitudes of Nicola Sturgeon and Alex Salmond. It is true that there have been times, many times, when Westminster has not listened to Scotland as well as it should have, not recognised its enormous contribution to the economy of this country for over the last couple of centuries. To just give the voice for independence, though, to those who happen to live north of the border at the time of a referendum could be questionable democracy. If a referendum had occurred a century ago, my Scottish grandfather would not have been able to vote. This is because he would have been still working with my Kentish grandmother on a tea plantation in southern Sylhet, an area that is now a part of Bangladesh. Indeed, I too am very proud of being 1/4 Scottish. Should we get as far as another independence referendum, perhaps we need to re-evaluate who is eligible to vote. Should it just be the decision of those who happen to live north of the border at the time of the vote, excluding all Scots resident elsewhere, but including those who are English but happen to live in Scotland at the time? After all, Scots have always been great internationalists, as I have already indicated. Our human tendency towards nationalism and nationalistic tendencies is interesting. On the one hand, we humans do have a need to belong, but on the other hand, we are required to and benefit from working together, whatever group we happen to belong to. We should always question our inner motives for wanting to be in leadership roles. Is it because we love power, or is it because we genuinely have the well-being of all as our heart's desire? Conflict arises from division, envy, lack of communication and failure to listen to and support each other. On this Maundy Thursday, as we read and listen to the story of Jesus and his disciples in the Garden of Gethsemane, try reimagining the scene to include people from the present day. Political leaders perhaps, those who are persecuted, those who we would judge criminals, or less than ourselves. Reimagine that garden at the bottom of the steep hill down from the Temple Mount, and look at the different attitudes of these people from our modern day world towards Jesus. Equally importantly, imagine Jesus' reaction to them. Then, most importantly, imagine ourselves there in that garden and examine our own attitude towards Jesus and welcome his response to us. However we are, whatever we are like. And then just say to ourselves, isn't it about time we got on a bit better, worked together a bit more, tried to find in each other the good bits that we can hang on to and relate to, those avenues, those channels of friendship and love. We remember this story, the story of the Passion of Christ that we remember, especially in this week of the year. We remember it because we have to learn the lessons of self-sacrifice and of service to each other. Amen.